I'm Peter Breuninger, and I'm here with Myles Astor, very, very well-known audio reviewer, reporting from CES 2013. Hi, Myles.
Peter, how are you today?
Very good. What sounds good at CES this year, Peter?
Well, I think there were a lot of good sounds. I think, the question this year was kind of like what system was really moving you, because I think when you started listening to a lot of the big systems, and there were a lot of big systems here, a lot of them kind of like did everything perfectly but somehow really didn't move you to like, this really is music.
What's your short list of, say, the top 4 or 5 you've heard?
Well, the one that, it may not have been the priciest, although it wasn't the cheapest by any stretch of the imagination, but there were only 10 grand speakers, was the Balanced Audio Technology room with the Ariel 7Ts. It was, they've changed the preamp, they've gotten rid of all the caps in the power in the circuit path, and it's transformer coupled, and they have updated their amp, and it was just, everything, the textures when you were listening to instruments was just, everything was so vivid. It was to kind of reach out and touch you without the kind of classic back darker sound. It was just very open, incredibly quiet and transparent.
How about that? How about another room that stuck out?
There were a couple. I liked the NOLA room. It was only digital, so that kind of is a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, I liked it too. I liked it a lot this year.
Carl is a person who is kind of a throwback to the old days, the Genesis, and he values dynamics.
Yes.
He full frequency range. So his speakers are going to produce prodigious bass. It's going to play loud, and Carl likes to play loud. So.
Yes. Yeah, we were listening to some live music from recorded in a church, and it was just beautiful.
Yes, and he had some organ.
And the organ pedal was just fantastic. In fact, I agree with Myles. I'm going to have to put that at one of the top rooms at CES this year. You had a couple more too.
Yeah, I like the new YG speakers. They've managed to push the price down a little bit for their top of the line. It's still around $108,000.
Yes.
But I will say this: it really shocked me. It was the best I've heard the new Dan D'Agostino amps. They really drove those speakers. They gripped them. There was no solid state sound. Great sound staging on it. It was really, you could sit in there and listen to it all day long.
I think part of the magic in that room was that that new Sonya speaker, that's a passive loudspeaker from top to bottom. So Dan's amp is now, you're really hearing some of the low-end information that comes through with Dan's amp. And his amp is, I don't know, there's something about it. It lets so much detail through, yet it's still musical.
Yeah, and it just hadn't really been able to show it off in any of the shows so far. It was kind of disappointing. And this one was kind of like, okay, now I really do have to get up to Connecticut and see Dan and hear it in his home.
There you go. There you go. Well, we both agree on that one. How about one more?
That's a tough one. So there were a couple others. Okay, I think that like the Vandersteen room would be like my last pick. I really like Vandersteen. Okay. He always manages to get amazing sound at the show out of his speakers. He has the same room every year, so he knows it. Best of all, Richard only has analog in room, no digital allowed, and he always has a great turntable set up. And I was commenting to him, in fact, what I really liked about the Sevens, and he's actually coming out with a new mod in a couple of months that's going to be make it essentially kind of an active loudspeaker.
Oh, really? How about that?
And it's going to add about probably 40,000. That's kind of rough. That's not decided yet.
Okay.
But I put on, for instance, the excellent classic reissue of Tubular Bells, and it just didn't smear things. A lot of systems just smear all the tracks together. When an instrument, or sound comes in, you can tell exactly where it is with the. And the Vandersteens are just, he had the Atlas with the new version, not the 12-inch, but the new version of the triplanar on the Brinkman, and it was just like, you could sit in his room all day and listen.
Well, that's the best endorsement you could get.
Exactly.
Very good. Myles Astor, great ears, been in the business many, many years, one of our top reviewers in the high-performance audio industry. Thank you, Myles.
Thank you, Peter.
Very good. Thanks.